Ronda is a member of the Art Center in Montrose, and we've been working with them on coordinating and sharing resources and sharing information about each other's programs, and we're just very happy to kind of grow our artist community beyond just Essex County and into Northern Neck and beyond. And Ronda comes to us from Pennsylvania, actually.
From where?
Pennsylvania.
Pennsylvania.
I'm here once a month. I'm actually a resident artist at the Art Center in Montrose, and I'm there because I met Janice as a painting buddy years ago. We started doing art workshops together, and then she told me she was going to do art workshops and sponsor them. So I started coming to Virginia, to Fredericksburg and beyond for that.
Sucked you right in, didn't you?
Yes. Well, and I keep saying, even though I'm from Pennsylvania, there's something about Virginia that I love. And not to sound too frou-frou, but I've done my astrocartography recently. I don't know if you've ever heard of astrocartography before. No. It's a form of astrology where they take your place of birth, your date of birth, your time of birth, and then your place has lines that radiate out from that central location. And when I did my astrocartography, I think it's my Uranus line, which I don't know what that means. I know enough about astrocartography to be very dangerous, but one of my lines comes right through Montrose and through Warsaw.
Everything comes through the northern neck.
From Pennsylvania.
From Chambersburg, Pennsylvania, where I was born. And when I found that out, I was flabbergasted.
That's
Well,
why
that
you're so
explains
comfortable
it,
here.
because
Yeah.
I'm supposed to be here in one form or another. So, if you have any questions about my artwork, please feel free to ask me. But I am from Pennsylvania right now. My husband and I live in Mechanicsburg, Pennsylvania, which is just across the Susquehanna River from Harrisburg. I could be in downtown Harrisburg, which is our capital, in 10,
My
15
whole family's
minutes.
from Pennsylvania.
Okay,
And
we
my
can have a
mom
long
is-
conversation. And when I got married, I always said when I was dating I would never marry a farmer, and guess what happened? I married a
Never
dairy
say
farmer.
never.
That's right. It taught me at an early age never to say never. So my husband and I dairy farmed for 20 years, and I'm a night person, so I had to learn how to become a morning person because we were up at 5:30 in the morning to milk. And then because of where our farm was located, just south of Chambersburg, we had a lot of pressure, development pressure, and the farm was family owned, and so we decided to leave farming. And my husband got a job with Pennsylvania Farm Bureau, which you have Virginia Farm Bureau, but Pennsylvania Farm Bureau is a little bit different. It's more of a lobbying organization, and he started doing environmental issues, and then he did national lobbying for farm issues, and then he did state issues, and then he became the manager of the governmental relations. So we were off the farm in a big way, and then after our children all grew up, we moved to Mechanicsburg, Pennsylvania. And then I started painting when I was 4 years old. I hijacked my mother's paint by numbers oil paint. She told me do not touch it, and I thought I had to touch it, so I ruined her painting.
Well, you told me you
So
were
I
a rule breaker.
Yes, I started painting at a very young age, and then it went from painting to sewing, and then for a living, I was a floral designer for years. So I've kind of always had art in the periphery. And once my children started to get older, I started to take more and more classes. So I used to say I'm self-taught, but because I took so many classes, I don't think I can say that anymore, but I don't know what the terminology is for somebody that doesn't have a degree but has spent a degree's worth of money going to art classes. So I've been painting for a long time. And my working, after floral design, I did a couple of really stressful jobs, and then I saw this advertisement in the newspaper one day that said something about art publishing, and so I thought, I want to do that. So I applied for it, and they hired me to shop for art, and they hired me to do purchase orders for art. So we were mass producing, we were gathering art, selling it to big vendors like Target, and I don't know if you've heard of Kirkland's here,
Yes.
Walmart, and other places, and they found out I was an artist. And in addition to doing the purchase orders, they asked me if I would do some new profiles of things that they hadn't done before. So I came up with some ideas, and I presented it to their director of sales, and she said, would you paint for us? and I thought I had gone to heaven.
Yes.
So I was, in addition to, I would do my purchase orders, and then the rest of the day I'd go to the sample room, and they would give me inspiration pieces they wanted to develop, and I'd take that information from the graphic designers, and I would create something, and then they would take it to like Walmart or Target or whatever vendor, and then they would buy that and they would send it off, and it would be mass produced. So I can say I'm a published artist because of that, because they published me, and then I can also, I think I can safely say I'm international, because some of my artwork went to some international vendors. Then COVID hit. So the company we shut down over COVID, and so everything was redone and reimagined then when we came back from COVID. And a lot of us were working from home, but they brought me back into the sample room to enhance art. So the ideas that the graphic designers came up with, that they would tell me what they wanted and I would enhance it. So a lot of the texture that you see here comes from my expertise in that. So my big thing is to enhance my art. So I was doing that. I would go to work in paint hours, 8 hours a day. So unfortunately, COVID basically forced the company out of business. So I was forced into retirement. And then Janice said, well, I'm opening a gallery, come be part of that. So I've been traveling from one art thing to another, luckily enough, for my retired years. So if you have any questions of me and anything, please let me know.
What an interesting life.
Ronda, what we can see this is rich, strong, and amazing.
Thank you.
All these styles, it's a big variety. Where exactly is your heart in all that? You have abstraction on one side, you have kind of representational works as well. So tell us now honestly, where exactly is your heart?
My heart is in abstraction.
Okay.
But you can't always sell abstraction.
Yes.
And I'm interested in not only creating, but selling. So if you look around the room, everything that you see, even if if it's more representational, there's abstraction in it, because that's where my heart is. But that's another thing that the job that I just told you about, it's another thing my job taught me, because I never knew when I went to work that day what I was going to be part of creating. So I had to be very flexible. And even though I only had the job a few years, I'm very glad for it, because it taught me the skills and the motivation, and be able to apply a lot of different things to a lot of different, and then I will see a new medium that I'm not familiar with, and I'll like it, and I'll chase after that medium, because you never know when you're painting, when you're an artist, what you could learn from a brand new medium that you could incorporate into something that you're more experienced at, which could totally change what you're doing with your art. So I'm very open. I pivot very easily, mainly because of my job experience. So does that answer your question?
Yes, yes, and I want to use the opportunity to thank you so much, because this is very educational for all of us to see all that.
That's good to hear, because to me it's just what I do. So to me it's it's just we all paint and we do what we do, and we don't think we're anything special. So it's kind of nice to come and get the reinforcement that I've gotten.
Absolutely. Thank you.
Thank you. Anybody else have a question?
Yes. Where did you meet Janice?
I met Janice at Cheap Joe's in North Carolina taking an art workshop.
Oh, okay.
True story.
Yeah.
We took a class from Gerald Bromer. I don't know if any of you that are watercolorists know that name, but he was pretty prominent in the watercolor world. He taught school, but he became a watercolorist, and he sold enough paintings that he was very well off in his life. But he incorporated watercolor and collage together a lot. His work phenomenal. He has since passed in the last few years, unfortunately, but I found out about him through a friend, and she said, you need to go take this class from him. And when she said watercolor, I went, because watercolor to me at the time was a very anemic palette, and you can see I like strong, vibrant. And she said, no, check him out. So I went online and I checked him out, and the only place that I could find him relatively nearby to take a workshop from him was at Cheap Joe's. art workshops at Chief Joe's in Boone, North Carolina.
Yep.
And lo and behold, Janice was there at the same class that I was there. And I was also fortunate enough to sit behind Chief Joe's himself in class, so, which was really cool because every time then I went back to take a class, he always appeared magically in front of me and he always pretended at least that he remembered me. And so, yeah, and he was a phenomenal human being, so.
Must have been.
He was.
Yeah, I've read his bio a lot.
And at the end of class, she said, I'm starting this art, I want to do art workshops and sponsor them. And so I put my email down and we just became fast friends from that. So that's how I met her.
Janice
And that's how I'm here
Janice is a
too.
neat lady.
She is. She's
energized
a phenomenal
about it.
person.
Have you ever painted cows?
Oh, yes. As a dairy farmer, it was a prerequisite for
Do
me
you
to paint
do
cows.
jerseys?
My cows that I painted were, have you ever heard of the medium brusho? Brusho is a dried watercolor, and when it needs water, it explodes. So you can, and it comes in various colors. And I did several. Before I started down this road, I was a folk art painter, and a decorative artist painter. So I painted a lot of more realistic cows then. But the cows that I painted recently are brusho cows, so their colors are very non-traditional, which I would not know where I get non-traditional from, if you will. But the last cow I painted was very non-traditional, purples and pinks and turquoises. So
Wonderful.
yeah, you knew it was a cow, but it was not the colors of the cow.
Yeah.
I mean, where does your kind of color approach come from?
They're just my favorite colors. Or what I want to paint with that day. Yeah. If you can't tell, blues and teals. Teal's my absolute favorite, but blue sneaks in. And purple was my favorite color as a little girl, so that keeps bubbling up. But I told somebody earlier, I brought the flamingo and the turtle to let you know that I can paint in other colors.
Beautiful, beautiful.
Anybody else?
Thank you so much,
Thank you.
Rhonda. And yeah, Rhonda will be here if you want to ask questions in private.
Thanks for being here.
He helped me hang all the stuff yesterday. We're a good team. He put the nails in and he did a lot of telling me that things weren't straight. So I was, he's right? Thank you.
Okay, no, you're okay. You were fine.
I haven't even.
Oh, that's take a look. Yeah.
Do you want to mention how you're going to be in Warsaw in June?
Oh, yes.
And these are the cows.
Well, I sold all.
Oils, everything. Incredible.